The Underground Railroad is literally the most important, dangerous game of hide and seek ever played because it's played for real.
About the only time that was even mentioned about the bounty on his head was while he was traveling around at night over in Kentucky, noticed pieces of paper that were attached to trees and posts along the way.
John Rankin, I think, had a $5,000 reward on his head. Parker had a $2,500 reward on his head.
There were situations where the family needed to use their firearms when bounty hunters and slave owners would come to the Rankin farm and demand to search the house looking for their runaway property. The term Underground Railroad, many people believe, was coined here in Ripley many years ago. A runaway slave had disappeared into the brush around the boat dock. I can't find him. He just simply vanished into thin air, and he must have disappeared on an underground road.
Well, the Underground Railroad is basically a social network of very like-minded people who are what I call morally brilliant, who believed in helping oppressed people to become free.
Ripley was actually established in 1804 when Colonel James Pogue, who was a veteran of the Revolutionary War, who had also been a surveyor and explorer, will finally decide to cash in on his 1,000 acres that he owned in what was the territory of Ohio.
Reverend Rankin comes to Ripley in 1822. Then he starts to change eventually the personality of the community.
John Rankin and several other people that become noted abolitionists.
We're not certain whether Reverend Rankin ever really crossed the river into Kentucky to bring fugitives out. Mostly he and his family would remain here in Ripley, waiting on people to find their way to their home.
One person that came to Ripley that really changed Ripley in many, many ways was John Parker, a former slave.
Immediately upon John Parker's arrival into Ripley, he started his work on and became a part of the Underground Railroad. Not only was John a conductor on the Underground Railroad, he was an extractor. Very, very few extractors in our history, especially black ones, for you see, extracting is extremely dangerous.
The fact that John Parker, having been a slave, was willing to go back into a state where he could be captured and returned to the South, I mean, it was took tremendous courage.
To come out of your comfort zone, whatever that is, to aid somebody else, like John Parker was. And I can admire, nothing but admiration for his motivation, his skill, and his willing to do this, willing to help.
What he does is he paints a target on his back that kind of casts a brighter light of what had been going on in Ripley since 1804. You see, since 1804, you had a core group of people here that were about freedom.
I have seen your struggle. If anyone deserves their freedom, you do. And he says, go there, and points to the Rankin house.
I honestly think with racial prejudice, I think what John Rankin said in his letters on slavery is just timeless. That the love of gain and greed will always endanger a level of rights of people.
In the 1800s, it was people like John Rankin and John Parker and their families and the other people here in Ripley to do what was right, to see what people can do to make others achieve freedom.